Take two. Hello, everybody. Uh, I'm the video I'm making today is a hard video to make. I've had to work several days now trying to bring myself into making this video. Uh, it started off in 2015, 2016, somewhere along in there. I'll tell you the honest truth, the time I wasn't concerned about what year it was. Uh, in my lifetime, I'd had several near-death experiences, and I just didn't pay it a lot of attention. When I was a teenager, I dove in a river and broke my neck. According to the doctor, I should have been paralyzed from my neck down or either dead, one of the two. And I just told him whether the Lord had better things for me to do or he had plans for me. It's the reason I'm still up and going. But in 2015, 16, somewhere along in there, I had a lump come up on my jaw about the size of a little egg. And I had had uh, abscessed teeth before and teeth problems. And so I just didn't think nothing of it. Figured it was a infected tooth. But just like when I was 18 and broke my neck and didn't think nothing of it, my mother convinced me to go to the doctor. When I was 18, she told me to go to the, she took me to the doctor and found out I actually had a broke neck. But but this time she convinced me you need to go to the doctor. Mama take care of the babies. And I went to the doctor, my regular practitioner, and he looked at the lump and said, "Well, we need to have a biopsy of it made." And I didn't think nothing of it. He sent me another doctor to have a biopsy, and I came on back home. And about a week later, I was actually in a hardware store with my son, which is a grown man, but I was in there with him looking for something. I can't even remember what we were looking for. And I got a phone call. Uh, a doctor was on the other side of the phone line and said, "You need to get back over here. You have cancer." Let me tell you, it was everything I could do to hold it together. It just like took my life force out just hearing those words on the phone. And I didn't want to upset my son or scare him or anything. So I just immediately just took a right turn, left turn down an aisle there in the hardware store. There wasn't nobody on that aisle but me. And went down there and just kind of started gasping for breath and trying to fight back tears. Uh, which I didn't fight them all back, but I was trying to. I finally got myself back together, walked back out there and grabbed whatever it was we were after real quick. Told my son, "Look, we need to go home." Went home and broke the news to everybody that I had cancer. Well, within the next 5 days, I'm going to say, I probably went to 15 different doctors. It was a bunch of them. Uh, they went to one doctor and kind of a dentist specialist, I reckon you'd call him, and he looked at the information they had and looked at my teeth and said, "Look, we need to pull all those teeth out." Said, if we don't, when you taking treatment, the chemo and radiation is going to make them rot out, and then they'll have an infection there, and that's something you won't be able to fight off during cancer treatment. You're not going to be able to fight a bunch of infections off. So they need to all be pulled out now. And believe it or not, I had 2 high-priced implants. They even pulled them out. I don't know how stainless steel, whatever it is, implant can go bad, but they pulled them out too. If I remember right, that was $2,800 each I paid to put them in. Anyway, they pulled them all out, and I went to this doctor and that doctor and had a port put in my chest for the chemo to go in. And within a week, they was trying to give my gums time to heal up, so they give it a week before he started treatment. And there we are. Started chemo and radiation treatment, taking radiation every day and chemo once a week. And now I know there's different plans and different medicines for different types of cancer, but that's what they were treating me with. I always thought before that, because I had never researched it. You know, you have cancer, everybody gets the same treatment, but it's different. Every type of cancer, and I reckon place where you have cancer in your body gets a different type of treatment. It's programmed for you. And first week or so, I think first 2 weeks wasn't that bad. By the third week, I was getting really sick. And I would get sick right after my chemo treatment, and I would slowly start getting a little bit better about 6 days later. And on the 7th day, it was time for another chemo treatment, so I'd get sick again. But I drove myself back and forth to the doctor every day, about 45 minutes away, for the first, I'm going to say 3 weeks. After that point, I'd got so sick I couldn't drive myself. I couldn't eat. They had to put a feeding tube in my stomach, and they would put this, I had to walk around the tube coming out of me to a pole with a bag on it, and I did pour every 4 hours, pour this old nasty smelling junk in it, and it would go into my stomach because I couldn't eat. And that was 24 hours a day, every 4 hours. And the further we went, the sicker I got. And I'm trying not to, my family could see that I was sick, but I was trying not to show fear to them because I didn't want them to get scared, any more than what they were. But, and y'all call that male chauvinist or whatever you want to call it, but I was trying to be strong for my family. And after it got to that point where I was so sick, I couldn't even drive myself anymore. I could barely walk across the room. That's when I found out what my marriage was all about. That's when my wife basically told me she didn't have time to take me to the doctor. She had other things to do. So I had to get my daughter to take me to the doctor every day. And my daughter saw things she shouldn't have saw. That's not a place for your kids to be. And every week it was a little worse, because face it, chemo is poison. They're literally poisoning your body to kill the cancer. So it finally got to that last treatment. And they had a bell there at the doctor's office. You'd go in there and you have that last treatment, you'd ring the bell. I reckon that meant you survived the treatment. I'll be honest, I could care less about that bell. I rung it for them and because my daughter was there. I was trying to put on a smile, but I was so sick I couldn't even hardly smile. Uh, and I think it was a 1 week, 2 weeks after my last treatment, I went back in for a checkup. They did some blood work and what have you, and they told me my white cell count had dropped so low that they needed to give me blood. Well, they wanted to give me 2 liters of blood. So I went over to this other office to get blood. And they said, well, we can only give you 1 liter a day. You had to come back in a day or so and get another liter. Well, I didn't tell nobody this part, but I hadn't had a bowel movement in a couple of weeks. Well, about the time I get to this appointment on the second day, it hit. And I couldn't even hardly walk. It hit so hard and I was just sweating. And my daughter had dropped me off and she had went on downtown to do something. Well, I made it to the restroom in the hallway of the hospital. And from there, I couldn't make nothing happen. And I sat in that bathroom for hours. And, well, I ain't gonna go any further than that. Nobody wants to hear about that. But I'd missed my appointment, so I had to come back the next day for the blood treatment, for the second liter of blood. And that got my white blood count back up to sustainable, I reckon. And they said it would build back up slowly over time. But this is when I'm realizing I didn't have much of a marriage, which I kind of knew that already anyway, but that's when I finally decided, enough's enough. So after I got where I was able to walk and talk and be a halfway normal human being again, and by the way, my doctor told me at the beginning of this treatment, he said, we're going to cure your cancer, but you're not going to be the same person. You will be a different person. And I didn't understand what he was talking about, but now I do, and it is true. They cured my cancer, but I was not the same person anymore. And this may be part of it, that cancer was in my lymph node, and the chemo and radiation destroyed that lymph node, and they said it's going to have an effect on your emotions and stuff. And I'm supposed to be taking some kind of medicine, hormone medicine ever since, but I refuse to take it. Some kind of hormone that lymph node is supposed to put in your body. I don't want to take medicine every day for the rest of my life. But it has changed me. And people that has never been through cancer treatment will never understand. People that have been through it will understand this. I don't know if anybody's going to want to watch this video. This is something I've never really talked to people about. But I thought I'd make this video for all those people out there that have cancer or just heard that they have cancer now. There is life after cancer. Some people do better than others. Me, it aged me. I tell people it aged me 20 years. I went from feeling like a young man to an old man. Uh, I feel my whole body just feels like I'm 20 years older than I was before the treatment. Will I ever get any of that back? I don't know. Maybe slowly, but as it slowly comes back, I'm slowly getting older. So take that as you will. I'm, it's not a fast process getting over it. And then every 6 months, you got to go back in for a checkup for, I think, a year or 2 years. Then after that, you go in once a year for a checkup for a couple of years, up until a 5 year mark. If cancer has not come back in 5 years, they consider you cured. Now, I don't know if that's even the same for different types of cancer. I just know it's, with my case, that's what they told me. Uh, but just let me say, for all you out there that's fighting cancer, I feel for you, but don't give up. And back to what I was saying a minute ago, after I got over the cancer and I realized my marriage was not there anymore. Well, I'm living in this house I'm living in right now, but I had a count down the road from my house about 2 miles in a tin shed. It was a 3 bedroom, 2 bath house, basically built into a tin shed. Well, I couldn't take it anymore. I moved out of here. My kids kind of helped encourage me because they knew what was going on. So I moved out, moved into that shed, and I'm sitting there with old scraggly beard in this shed. Didn't even have TV or nothing. Being it was a tin shed, I didn't even hardly have cell signal. I just sat in the window with my phone up in the window just to get a cell signal. And contemplating life, you know. I didn't know if I was ever going to be able to be back to a normal and be able to work again. I didn't know. But I've since then realized, I mean, I haven't been back to work since then. That was, I think, in 2017 when I was living in the shed. And didn't want nothing to do with another woman. Didn't want nothing to do with anybody, really. I just thought my life was over. But there's a lot of emotions goes on with all the cancer treatment and everything. I hear heart attack patients go through that too. You know, when you're faced with death, it changes you. And but that's basically what I was wanting to talk to y'all about. I hope y'all don't get too harsh on me on this video because it's a really hard video to talk about. If y'all would like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, it would help me out a lot. Well, y'all have a good day. God bless, and never give up.